Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and we're back with the iPad Pro, the new 9.7-inch version, because today we're taking a look at its keyboard cover. This is called the Smart Keyboard cover. This is a genuine Apple accessory, and you'll be paying the price for that. I paid $149 for this, along with my iPad Pro when I picked it up, so not inexpensive, but I did find it rather interesting, so we'll take a look at that in a second. I did want to do my usual disclosures, though, and let you know that I bought this with my own funds. Nobody is paying for this review. I have no relationship with Apple, and everything you're about to hear in this video are my opinions and my opinions alone, because nobody is reviewing this before it gets posted. So this is the keyboard. It doesn't look all that nice, but it actually functions well for what it is. Now, the keys are small on here, yet they've got them covered in fabric. I've seen some keyboards from Logitech with a similar layout here, which means that you can basically clean them off with a wet cloth or something. They don't call it waterproof, but they do say it's water resistant because it is completely sealed. There's no gaps in between the keys here for dirt or anything else to get stuck in between keys, so that's kind of a nice thing. The keys actually have really nice travel to them for their size, and they're very well spaced apart. And actually, I got used to typing on this fairly quickly, and once you get the hang of it, it isn't bad because the key spacing really does make a difference. Now, I've seen a lot of mobile keyboards, and we reviewed a ton of them on the channel. Some of my biggest complaints about them is that often the keys are different sizes. This one, they decided to keep the keys all the same size and give them a good amount of spacing, and that's really worked as a typing surface for here. Not perfect, though. There's certainly better keyboards than this one if you are a typing purist, but if you want something very portable, I think this one really will do the job for you. And autocorrect on the iPad also does wonders on this keyboard too as you're typing. Now, the trade-off here to get something so small is the fact that you're able to really make it very portable. So when the keyboard cover is stowed away, this is it. It's really not that much bigger than the standard iPad smart cover that you might see. So really thin, yet you get a lot of keyboard functionality built in with your iPad that you can carry around with you. It doesn't add all that much weight. I'd say less than a half a pound, so maybe a couple hundred grams or so. Not very heavy. Doesn't really add all that much bulk, and it's something that you can very easily take off your iPad, because some of the best keyboard cases I've used often require to be melded to your iPad with some really hard to get off case and everything. This thing works exactly like the smart covers do on other iPads, in that it connects magnetically. Now, the way this works is not through Bluetooth, but through a new connector type that they've added to the iPad Pro, this little 3-prong connector down here. That matches up magnetically with the prongs on here, so there's never anything to charge on this either. You just pop it in, and there's no pairing nor a battery to die on you, so it does get going pretty quickly. So I'm pretty impressed with it, actually. I'll do a typing sample here in a minute to show you how that works. Now, the things that I don't like about it, though, is that you really do have kind of a fixed position here. So this is the angle that you're going to get. You can't lower it down or anything else, so if you don't like the angle you're getting, this is all you're going to get. You can also flip it around and kind of make it work like the stand mode would on the smart cover. So I'll take out my iPad Air 2 here and just show you how that looks. So you can kind of do one of these things on the iPad smart cover, the regular one. Unfortunately, it doesn't do as well on this one, so you have to kind of contort it around a little bit to get it into that position here. I'm always bad at folding these things up, but once you get it positioned, it's got a little bit more of a steeper angle to it. So you can see on the original iPad smart cover, it does give you a better viewing angle. I always feel like this is going to topple over because it really does put a little too much weight towards the front, so it really isn't a very good mounting surface. So really the only mode that I think really works for this cover is when you have the keyboard out, because you really do get a better angle and the iPad's not in danger of tipping over on you. So really, I find it only to have one effective mounting mechanism, but again, you do have the ability to kind of contort it around here and get it into that other stand mode, which I'm not going to bother with right now. And it's not too bad as a laptop keyboard either. It does actually stay pretty stable, but you can't adjust the screen angle. So depending on what you're sitting on, if you're like on a train or something, you might not have the best angle for the screen. You will certainly get a much better laptop typing experience with a laptop, but it does hold itself pretty stable on a lap, at least in my testing. All right, so let's take a look at some typing now. I'm having a hard time on here typing out the word YouTube, given the key spacing there. So it's not perfect. It's really not the best typing surface I have used. But again, I really think getting the portability kind of makes it work for me. You'll notice too at the bottom that it does do a lot of auto correction. So if I start typing in something incorrectly, it tends to do a pretty nice job of figuring out what I meant. And they also have some prompts here at the bottom. We've seen this on Android as well, so that you'll get some words popping in as you're going as well. So it does try to make it a little bit easier for you, but words where you've got a lot of the keys close together like YouTube often have a hard time with me getting everything going without having to slow down a little bit. So I definitely can't type on here as fast as I can type on a regular keyboard, but it's good enough, I think, because of the portability. So that's why I've kind of really enjoyed using this keyboard. Even though it's not the best thing to type on all the time, it's nice to have a keyboard that's always with me because it really isn't all that much more bulk than I would normally get with the smart cover. You do get some keyboard shortcuts also, so you can switch between apps by doing a command tab on here. So a lot of the other things that you might expect on a desktop computer kind of work on here as well. So I can do Command B and make that bold and do some other things like that. So that is the new iPad Smart Keyboard cover for the 9.7-inch iPad Pro. I do like it quite a bit, not because it's a perfect keyboard, because it isn't. It's not a perfect stand either, but it really is a nice cover that is very portable, and you get that keyboard functionality with not a lot of added bulk. And I also like the fact that the keyboard folds in on itself here, so the keys are not touching the screen either. So you've got a felt portion here, very similar to what you have on the regular smart cover, that give your screen a little bit more protection. So you really get a lot of the smart cover functionality, almost the same size, a little bit of a bump here, of course, for the keyboard, but good enough to protect your screen and give you a keyboard that you can walk around with. Again, not perfect, but I don't often carry a keyboard around with me because they've been too bulky, or I didn't want to carry two devices with me. I usually keep a smart cover on my iPad to protect the screen, and now I can pretty much get a keyboard here without giving up a lot of extra weight or bulk in the process. So I was really impressed with that. Not impressed with the price though. $150 is a lot of money for a mobile device keyboard. I'm hoping to see other manufacturers take advantage of that connector there. One thing I am concerned about over time is how strong the hinge area is going to be, because I saw on my smart covers that they tend to rip over here due to all the stress they're under from getting pulled apart all the time and perhaps maybe carrying their own weight. This one is a lot heavier, of course, than the smart cover is, so I'm hoping that this material will last longer than I've seen it last on the smart covers. I usually get about, at least on my last smart cover, was about 2 years or so before it kind of tore apart. I'm hoping that this material feels a little bit stronger on here, but it's hard to say without giving it the test of time. So I'm a little bit concerned about that, because once this breaks apart, the keyboard will no longer work because it is not a Bluetooth keyboard. It actually transmits its electrical signals through this portion here, and if this detaches, you lose the entire keyboard functionality. So we'll have to see how this holds up over time, but in the interim, I think it's a pretty good solution. I just wish it cost less. This is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching. This channel is brought to you by my Patreon supporters, including gold level supporter Shabib. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to Lon.TV/Patreon to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit Lon.TV/S.